have been feeling really introverted lately. The very goth look. Genuinely don't feel like speaking anymore. I don't know. Also, before we get into our video, I have had, not to freak anyone out, the weirdest swelling in the back of my arm. These shoulder blades. Like, there's been swelling at the back of my shoulder blades, which has made it extremely difficult for me to work out from coming from the gym. Not with the goth makeup. The goth makeup was after the gym. I've just been having a weird time. Life's been weird. I've been feeling very different, and there's been like this weird euphoria-esque type of energy in my life where I go into like the shopping mall and like really like the type of music that would play at the end of a 90s movie, like euphoric, like this is the end, this is when the main character, that's the type of music that has been playing. And I'm thinking to myself, what a wonderful world. That one's been playing in the mall often, or like in shops when I get in. Kind of that kind of music, like really like heavenly music. Like this is like when you have transcended. I don't know if I've transcended. Mostly I'm freaked out. I'm like, what's going on? It's like the opposite of the saxophones. I've been hearing the opposite of that, like euphoric music. I don't know what's going on with that. But into the video, because that's what this is about today. It's about the video, and I know I'm a yapper. Maybe I should make like a separate like folder for my yaps, because I do yap. I am a thought daughter. I have many things going on in this brain. You guys let me know if I should make a yap folder. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Mochi, and if you're new around here, we love to do philosophical discussions and anything interesting. So I made this video specifically to talk about how your calling and who you're meant to be is often hidden in your childhood, which is why it's important to heal. Because when you heal, you connect with your authentic self, and your authentic self is usually who you were born as. A lot of people do get traumatized super early, so it's like very, very, very suppressed. But for the most part, your childhood tells you who you want to be. Another way to know who you want to be is what you envy or what triggers you. Usually what triggers you is what you are supposed to be. I find that when I'm on the right wavelength for myself, when I'm doing things right for myself, I usually feel neutral towards the things that used to previously trigger me or make me feel uncomfortable. But yeah, society has this way of telling us, or has been teaching people to grow up for the longest time. Capitalism is a staple in telling people that they need to put their childish ways aside. Dreams, passions are immature and something worth laughing at. It's humorous that you think you're going to become an astronaut, or you think you're going to become whatever. But usually, our childhood is where our genuine life path lies, or who we're meant to be, who we're supposed to be. It's usually uncovered in our childhood. Funny thing is, I've gotten to a point in my life now where everything that I previously felt embarrassed about, humiliated by, or ashamed of from my childhood, that I was told to bury away because that was a bad thing, I found that is the person I'm becoming when I heal. I realized that nothing I said was wrong. It was mostly other people or older people's projections onto me that made me think that the path that I was choosing, or the direction I was going, was incorrect, you know? If your mother, if her dreams were crushed before she even had the chance to experience them, her natural response will be to crush your dreams whenever you say that you want to become this and you want to become that. And it's also why I always encourage like serenity, I don't know. But I encourage people to know themselves, because sometimes the people in our lives, they love us, and sometimes they mean us well, but they still might not understand you completely, what you're supposed to become. Because for me, my life's been super weird, but you all saw me, you all saw me go through a spiritual, like a transition, right? A transition in my life, where I started with healing myself, right? And in the process of that, I didn't realize how much of myself was just fragmented, how much of myself was, broken away from me, um, until I started becoming myself. And this time I had to become myself, the same self that I was as a child, but stand strong in that identity and not let other people sway me into thinking that I was bad or wrong, or that I was going in the wrong direction, Because people will think you're going in the wrong direction because for them, they haven't achieved their dreams. So if they hear you, because childhood dreams sometimes are super crazy, sometimes they're super simple, sometimes it's, I just want to live on a farm. But if you come from a family maybe that wants you to be a lawyer, and you say, I want to live on a farm and be married, like that sounds crazy to them, right? Sometimes you're born into the wrong setting and the wrong environment and the wrong people, but partially that's so that you can discover who you really are and be strong in your identity when you do. Wait, who I was as a child was correct. It's just that I was unaware that it was correct because I was around the wrong people. I was put in the wrong environment to nurture the identity that I had. Which is why a lot of the times when I even think of the past now, I'm like, wow, people didn't understand even what archetype of person I was. Maybe because I'm somewhat a bit of a new archetype, right? It's not very common. Like, I'm not a common person to find. So maybe people themselves couldn't understand that, but people put me into archetypes that weren't me because they didn't understand my personality. And that's why it's so important to go after your dreams and to understand who you are, because people will put you in their boxes without even having to understand you. Like, most people won't try to listen to you, they won't try and hear you, and they'll say, oh, this is what you are. I went through a healing journey, I went through a healing process that you witnessed. Some parts crazier than others, some parts deeper and messier and more traumatic. Like, I was like spilling out all the like trauma, because it's like, for me to get to my inner child, it was like there's so much experiences that shut that down. So I was like spilling out so much trauma and so much like wounding that happened to me as I grew up, to even get to the point that I feel light, that I feel like myself. It's very weird. But what was I saying? Healing is a process. Healing is a process, and getting to your childhood self is also a process. And it's something, if you start, that you should give yourself time with. I know when I started healing, I initially was just ready for whatever to happen because my life was already really bad. Like, I was already being treated poorly by everyone around me. Almost everybody around me was treating me very poorly. And so I was ready. I told myself, whatever is going to be thrown at me, I'm prepared to take it on. I'm prepared to process whatever it is that I did not know that I was going in for a year and a half. I think it was actually more than a year, probably like two and a half years. Yeah. So from the moment I was like, I'm gonna heal, 2.5 years of like, and the last little bit was like the final processings of the big traumas I've had in my life, and it was just like back to back like realizations of who I was, and back to back like, oh, I remember I liked that. Oh, and then I stopped when this person told me this. Oh, I remember, like, so much information that's just like buried in your subconscious because of trauma and because of society and because of conditioning and life and everything. Like, from when you're a kid, you're put in school, and school already has a set of standards of the way you're supposed to be. For someone like me, obviously from then on, you're gonna be like bullied out of your identity because it's weird or it's odd. And for me, I had a very strange life path. You know, I didn't have a normal life path. Uh, and I talk about this, and that's why I myself so much on this channel, because I know there's other people out there that don't have a normal life path. I thought I was the only one in the world that lived and felt the way I did. I thought I thought I was the only one, because I never met anybody else who was like me. But it's because obviously I have a very unique path, and for me it's like the path of being, like, you know, being a creative and being a performer, being an artist. So it's not going to be everybody. um and also, even if there are people that are like me, most would be inclined to hide that that's what they go through, that their life is that way, you know. But some people are born with specific life paths, like very unique, meaning their experiences are super unique. And for the most part, in the beginning, I thought people would relate if I shared my experiences, like in the real, like family and stuff like that. None of them understood me. Okay, most of them thought I was crazy, or that I was losing it, or that I was going through some mental crisis, and this was my way to get it out, by, because like I said, I grew up Christian, so by maybe becoming spiritual is a way of, no, but it's like that's just what I was supposed to be. Um, that's just the life path that I'm supposed to have. And a lot of people end up in horrible situations. Um, like, I find, even for like people like me who are artists, this life path is very weird, because you deal with people and other people and their projections, and a lot of people end up falling into the projections of other people. So they end up losing their minds, like literally. They end up going insane, or they end up homeless, or they end up in the psych ward, because they were unable to connect the dots. They were unable to understand that they weren't a wrong person. They weren't an incorrect person. So most of them internalize that they're wrong, and because of that, they end up in very terrible places. Some don't even make it past 30. A lot of artists don't even make it past 30 because they don't understand that they are an artist. So it's important to heal. And that's why I talk about healing so much, because it's actually the difference between life and death for a lot of people. Reconnect with your identity, reconnect with who you were as a child, what kind of music you liked, or the type of personality you had as a child before people told you that's not real, or that's who you can't do that, or you can't be that. Because the world is much bigger than a lot of people realize, and most things are a lot more achievable than a lot of people realize. But it's like, we have a lot of people have a small mind or small life experience, so to think that it's easy to attain certain things, they don't understand that. Like, it's not, they can't conceptualize that, oh, what I think is like, whoa, wild, crazy thing to achieve is really achievable. Most people don't get that. And of course, I'm talking about the genuine dreams of your childhood. I know some people have like grandeur dreams. Those are for people who are more more on the dark side. I know that they have more like not real, like, I don't know, I don't want to say not realistic, but like it's just I've met a lot of narcissistic people and people who are Machiavellian, and they tend to have very unrealistic dreams, in the sense of like they seem to be like, oh, I want to achieve this and be this cool person. I tend to find people who are very Machiavellian tend to think in that way. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about when you were a child, you made certain memories. You probably wrote it down. You maybe played doctor, or you said, I just want to live on a farm with a pig. That is usually what you're meant to become. That's usually your dream. That's usually what your future is supposed to become. Yes. And ever since I connected with my inner child, and became the dream that my inner child had, my life's been very weird. Of course, it's been magical, but very weird magical too. This is very interesting, but as you can see, my life is it's tailored to be the way I designed it. And I feel like we all wanted our lives to be the way we designed it, but reality came in and told us, what are you talking about? That's not real. That's not how life works. I do think my life has been tailored to work for me, and I think everyone else's life is tailored to work for them. And if you feel like you're in the wrong life, which is how I felt for my whole life, I didn't know what it was, but I just felt like I feel like I'm in the wrong life. I feel like I don't belong here. That's what I felt like. I felt like an alien, which is, I mean, understandable. But I don't feel like an alien now in this life that I'm living. Like in this reality, I don't feel like an alien. So for me, it's kind of like, I felt like an alien. I felt like I'm in the wrong life. I felt like I was in the wrong world, wrong universe. Like it just felt wrong. I felt like I was the wrong person. So if you're feeling like that, chances are you're probably right. You are in the wrong life. And it probably means that your identity is not it's not matching up to who you really are meant to be. Yeah. And like I said, it's valuable because a lot of people end up passing on when they're not supposed to, because they don't understand what they are. And if I never got to the point that I understood what I was gonna be abandoned and left to like just, I would have been left to to deteriorate. And people would have been like, oh, how unfortunate, or they just were mentally ill, or they just were whatever, because people tried to push all kinds of narratives onto me. All kinds, like I would have been in a really bad place or not alive, because I would have felt like what they were saying was correct and that I was wrong. I was the wrong person, or the wrong. You're not wrong, and you're not you're and your idea of what you want to experience as a life is not incorrect, and it's not unrealistic. It's not, unless you generally do have like some kind of but it's not wrong. You're not wrong, and who you are, people are not wrong. Like the existence of people is not incorrect. There's no people that are incorrect, because I believe that the universe is a very complex algorithm and very complex computer system. And with algorithms and with coding, even if one code is slightly wrong, the entire system crashes. The universe would crash if anything was incorrect. It is the way it's supposed to be. Ow! Oh, did I mention that I have a problem with my lower, like the back of my arm? But yeah, that I literally can't move it properly. I should probably get it checked out. But yeah, this video has been long enough. Let me head out. My phone's gonna die. I love you guys. Goodbye. Take care of yourselves. Bye.